Good evening to all, and welcome to the 39th Annual CPR Awards Program. I've been asked to introduce myself. For those of you who do not know me, I am the Senior Vice President of CPR Dispute Resolution. I have been with CPR in various capacities for the last 18 years. And one of those capacities is on an annual basis to work with the awards judges to come up with the awards program that you will see this evening. For those of you who are familiar with the awards program, you know that we give awards for scholarship in the alternative dispute resolution field to those who advance the understanding of the field. This evening, we will be giving out several awards to prominent academics who have gone beyond the norm in advancing understanding in the ADR field. Prior to doing that, however, we will have a couple of special awards. And to start those awards, I would like to introduce my colleague, Alan Waxman, the CEO of CPR.
Thanks, Helena, and thanks to everybody. And yes, Ellen, what a wonderful display of talent from the ADR stars, the rising stars. I think that's really always one of my favorite aspects from last year to this year, is to see that talent that is in the field, and that is very reassuring for tomorrow's leaders as we work towards finding better ways to resolve disputes. This is also another favorite aspect of our program. It's awards time. As Helena mentioned, we have awards across a variety of categories. We will be turning to some of the scholarship and publication awards. But I have the honor tonight to begin with an award that we handed out for the first time last year, and it's our CPR Partner of the Year Award. As I mentioned during my opening comments, the organization is so dependent upon our membership and the commitment of our membership, the dedication of our membership in coming together and really working in how we can meet the mission of managing conflict to enable purpose. And our Partner of the Year Award is given to that member who stands out amongst a very high bar of members in making outstanding contributions to the thought leadership of the Institute, who has shown exceptional engagement with CPR's activities, and who has demonstrated meaningful commitment to CPR's mission of dispute prevention and resolution. This evening, I am really honored to give that award to Connie Mateo. Connie is the co-chair of CPR Institute's Healthcare and Life Sciences Committee, co-chair of the CPR Institute's Task Force on Mitigating Risk in Life Sciences Transactions, and a frequent contributor at CPR programs. And oh yes, she is also an assistant general counsel at Pfizer in her day job, helping the world find better ways to manage the virus. So Connie really exemplifies those values that we at CPR stand for. And I've known Connie for a number of years. I know her commitment to the field of dispute resolution in her professional work, in her work with us. And Connie, it is such an honor to be able to bestow the CPR Partner of the Year Award upon you.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you to the leadership team at CPR. I am truly humbled by this recognition. The global pandemic has highlighted how crucial it is for companies like Pfizer to focus on their purpose. CPR's mission of preventing and resolving disputes to enable purpose motivated me to become more actively involved with this organization. In a recent letter to CPR membership, Alan quoted from the immortal words of Lennon and McCartney from the song "We Can Work It Out." So in keeping with that Beatles theme, I want to spend the next few minutes talking about what we can and have achieved when we come together. Over the last 18 months, I've witnessed firsthand how CPR leverages the talent, insights, and experience of its members. We've taken action to achieve less conflict, more purpose. I'm extremely proud of the work the Healthcare and Life Sciences Committee has done in the last 18 months, particularly our task force work. The task force on mitigating risk in life sciences transactions consists of about 30 law firm and in-house attorneys. Task force members have spent countless hours meeting, sharing their collective wisdom, swapping war stories, all in an effort to draft practical guidance aimed at preventing commercial disputes. We look forward to the publication of these efforts later this year. Our second task force, Best Practices in Arbitration, is just getting underway. The task force work not only advances our goal of more purpose, it also provides development and networking opportunities, which are essential for associates. In order to continue its important work, CPR needs input from a variety of voices in the legal community. It also requires active participation from existing members. If you are not involved in one of CPR's committees, I urge you to join one. If you are already involved in one of the committees, spread the word and encourage others to join and get involved. To law firm partners in the audience, I encourage you to support your associates' participation in CPR and its committees. In closing, I'd like to thank my co-chair, John Wasserman. I enjoy working with you, John, and look forward to seeing what our community achieves. I'd also like to recognize the efforts of Sam Zimmerman and David Colvin in leading our task forces. A special thank you to Laura DeLuca for her tireless support of our committee. And finally, I'd like to thank my colleagues at Pfizer for encouraging my participation with CPR.
Thank you so much, Connie. I think your words really demonstrate the values, humility, and dedication that make you such a deserving recipient of this award. So congratulations.
Thank you, Alan.
So next up, we're going to move on to another very special award. The first time this one is being handed out, and it's being handed out actually as a result of the work of its recipients. So Ellen, let me turn this over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next award is the inaugural CPR Award for Outstanding Leadership in Dispute Prevention. And this award goes to James P. Groten, the person in our membership community who has been a leader in dispute prevention for more than 30 years. So what exactly is dispute prevention, you might ask? You heard a bit about it at the prior panel discussion. And I'd also like to say this honoree, Jim, has spent the better part of his lengthy career helping people to better understand and adopt dispute prevention. Since his work on the 1991 CPR book, Preventing and Resolving Construction Disputes, Jim has continued to enthusiastically spread the message far and wide that conflicts do not have to lead to retrenchment and hardening of positions, to value depleting disputes or ruined business relationships. He has done this by writing, speaking, training, networking, and collaborating with others. He has persevered and pushed this topic as a valid alternative to dispute resolution by moving the process even further upstream. He encourages businesses, law firms, and other organizations to think ahead, be flexible, find creative solutions when the only constant is change, and take steps to work toward partnering and strengthening business relationships. Jim truly lives our CPR vision, less conflict, more purpose. And as CPR celebrates the 1-year anniversary of its dispute prevention pledge for business relationships and continues to encourage businesses to sign on to the pledge to demonstrate their commitments to those relationships and to implement mechanisms to avoid disputes, we could think of no one more fitting to receive this inaugural award than Jim. And in coming years, CPR looks forward to naming the award after Jim and bestowing the James P. Groton Award for Outstanding Leadership in Dispute Prevention to future leaders in the field. And I would just like to add that that's all on behalf of the community. But when I joined CPR two plus years ago, I had the pleasure of interacting with Jim and mentioned to him that one of my initiatives that I was really excited about was dispute prevention. And he has been an incredible source of resources and anecdotes and stories and tips and encouragement. So I just want to personally as well say, Jim, thank you. And you're on mute. You're on mute. Jim, you take yourself up. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I am so delighted. Thank you so much, Ellen, because I've enjoyed working with you the last couple of years. I've kind of harassed you, I'm afraid, with all of my background at any rate, but you're a great partner in this effort. I'm really humbled at the award, and I can hardly believe it's going to be named after me. That's unbelievable. At any rate, as you know, I've really enjoyed doing this. This has been my passion. It's been my sole mission for the last 30 years, pretty much. And I've just enjoyed it tremendously. Every minute has been a pleasure. But I'm a little bit guilty accepting this award because the real people who deserve this award are some remarkably bright people in the construction industry back about 40 years ago who conceived of the amazing realization that disputes involve relationships. And their idea was that if we're going to prevent disputes in the construction industry, which is probably the most adversarial industry in the world, we'd better deal with the relationships, and we better be proactive. We better devise processes and strategies that will go to the root of those relationships and actually prevent disputes. So these very bright people, and I wish I knew their names, they're lost in history, but they invented such things as dispute review boards, which of course lead to the standing neutral process that we particularly favor. Partnering, the strategies for realistic risk allocation, so that no one is prejudiced by being subjected to an unfair contract, to partnering processes that get people together at the beginning of a relationship so they'll get their priorities adjusted, and things like incentives to encourage cooperation. All of these ideas are proactive processes. They have to be instituted in a pre-dispute environment. You don't wait for the dispute to occur before you start tackling the problem. You decide initially that you're going to fix the problem or you're going to fix the blame to get the parties to agree. Certainly, we will concentrate on fixing the problem. And the tools and techniques and strategies that these people develop are the ones that I favor addressing in any relationship. And this has potential for all kinds of relationships, even conceivably domestic relations. I don't know, every relationships between organizations, relationships between businesses, especially businesses, and relationships between governments. So these are the people whose shoulders we stand on, and they're the people who really should be honored. I'm also very grateful to a whole lot of people I've been calling fellow travelers. The people who have worked with me or co-authors who've given insights into the process, and who frankly have given me some credibility and have given dispute prevention some credibility. They're too numerous to mention, but they know who they are. I could not also, I really have to thank my clients who were willing to be the guinea pigs for using some of these processes in actual transactions. They were willing to go through it, and they were grateful to me for the results. And I'm delighted to know that they are still clients of my law firm, even though I retired 20 years ago. So that gives me great pride. But I also need to mention something about CPR and how this award is so appropriate, I think, at this time for CPR. As Ellen mentioned, there was a 1991 book that CPR put out. It had the remarkable 2 words in its title. One is preventing, and another word was disputes. I think maybe those are the first time in history that those 2 words were ever associated with anything going on. At any rate, the full title was Preventing and Resolving Construction Disputes. And it was a landmark book. It put together every process that was then known for the proactive prevention of disputes. We had a stellar lineup of wonderful people who could really speak and write about the subject. The book is a classic. I wish CPR would republish it because I think it's as valid today as it was 30 years ago. At any rate, that book. Now, while the people I've mentioned, those pioneers in the dispute in the construction industry who invented these processes, they were the inventors. But CPR, with the publication of that particular book, launched the dispute resolution, the dispute prevention movement 30 years ago. So CPR really founded this movement. And so it's very appropriate that they would have a dispute prevention award. And thank goodness they're giving it to me. And I'm just so delighted. And thank you again, Ellen. I really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure, Jim. Thank you. And Helena, sorry, I don't have the script, but
Thank you so much. Congratulations,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Congratulations, Connie. It's now time to turn to the academic awards. So I'd like to first let everyone know that we will be putting the PowerPoint in the chat, so you don't have to rush to copy down the citations if you want to read the award winners. So to give the first award, which is the Outstanding Student Article Award, is Betsy Hellman, who is a seasoned litigator and arbitration practitioner at Skadden Arps. Betsy?
Thank you, Helena, and good evening to everyone. So I'm thrilled to be giving this, the Outstanding Student Article Award to Daniel Aboud. And there must be some kind of Beatles theme tonight. We heard that from Alan and Connie, because the Imagine in the name of this article is a reference to John Lennon's famous song that we have now learned was a great contributor to that was Yoko Ono, which I think she's now belatedly gotten credit for that. So Daniel is a graduate of Fordham Law School and originally submitted this paper in a class there. And it is scheduled, as you see on the screen there, it's scheduled to be published later this year by the Harvard Negotiation Law Review. Daniel currently is working as a judicial law clerk at the Southern District of New York. So this article was a really fascinating read that the judges were really impressed by this year. Both because it explored a relatively unexplored topic in disputes resolution literature, and also because Daniel made concrete proposals in his article that we thought were really impressive. So in the article, Daniel explained the unique world of songwriting, in which songwriters often collaborate and work together to compose a piece. And I was surprised to learn that if you drive in your car and you turn on the radio and you hear some pop songs on the radio, those pop hits, the number of those that are written by a single writer at this point in time is in the low single digits, something like 3 or 4% of them. So a lot of songs are being written out there collaboratively. So Daniel explains in his article in this setting the unique then web that is the songwriting universe. and describes the bonds between songwriters that they're creative, they're personal, and they're often repeat players in this universe. They have relationships. They rely on word of mouth to get gigs, and at the same time, it's a very competitive landscape, and there are various power dynamics at work. And of course, at the end of the day, there's money involved, and that's the nub of the dispute often. So, how are the earnings from a song eventually going to get split among all of these people who worked on the song? So that is what is referred to in these split disputes. And as Daniel describes in his article, those can be complicated and fraught, and it's no surprise that they're on the rise currently. So when they do arise, they implicate not only financial concerns, as the disputes that we're often involved with do, but also creative and emotional and reputational and relational concerns as well. So into this vortex, this very complicated vortex, David very boldly steps and emerges with a proposal. He explains in his article why mediation is ideally and uniquely suited to such disputes, and then makes a proposal that performing rights organizations such as BMI and ASCAP are the industry actors that are best equipped to implement this mediation system because they have intimate ties already to the songwriters and the publishers and are already in the business of tracking splits. So it's with great pleasure that I present Daniel Abowd with the Joseph P. McLaughlin Student Article Award. Congratulations, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Betsy. It's a real honor to receive this award. I want to thank CPR, the CPR community. I have to say it's an honor to win an award dedicated to Joseph McLaughlin, given his legacy in this field. I want to just quickly thank my wife and my Nana, my daughter Jaya, my family, everybody at Fordham Law, especially in the Fordham Mediation Clinic, particularly Professor Jackie Nolan Haley, Professor Landau, Joe Landau, Professor Hugh Hansen, and my old employer, the Royalty Network, who as a publisher represents the songwriters who inspired this work. And it's very humbling to think that I may be able to have played some small role in helping increase songwriter access to justice, which was the thrust of the piece. So thank you so much for this award. It's an honor.
Our next award is the award for Outstanding Short Article. And to present the award is Harry Trueheart. Harry is the Chairman Emeritus and CEO and co-managing partner of Nixon Peabody and a member of its litigation practice group. And he has been a CPR awards judge since as long as I can remember, so a very long time. Harry?
First of all, I'd like to go off script and offer on behalf of all of the judges my thanks to Helena for her many years of flawless and diplomatic administration of these award programs. It's a complicated job with a lot of people and a lot of materials and a lot of opinions, but every year it runs very well and it's a pleasure to be a part of. My job is to announce the winner of the short article. I think we're all familiar with the expression, if I'd had more time, I'd have written you a shorter letter opinion, or in this case, an article. And the implication of that is it's tougher to be effective, but it is always the best way to be effective in writing a short article. And this year's award goes to an article that is extremely timely and one that I think if you read, you'd recommend to everyone in public service or in the world you live in your own communities as worth a read. The winner is Daniel Shapiro. The article is The Power of the Civic Mindset, the conceptual framework for overcoming political polarization. I think many of you are familiar with Professor Shapiro. He's the founder and director of the Harvard International Negotiation Program. He serves as an associate professor in psychology at the Harvard Medical School and on the affiliate faculty at the program on negotiation at the Harvard Law School. And he is widely active as an advisor in international negotiations at the public and the private level, extremely well known in his field. You can tell by the title how timely the article is. It was published in the Connecticut Law Review, as you can see in front of you, and proposes an elegant, new in a sense, conceptual paradigm for overcoming political polarization in our extremely divided world. It addresses the importance of understanding the factors that contribute to polarization and analyzes strategies to combat them. More specifically, it offers a new conceptual approach for overcoming political polarization and proposes that the primary psychological barrier for bridging political divides is the adversarial state of mind, which he calls the partisan mindset, and analyzes its specific characteristics, fundamental operating principles, and the triggers that cause it to rise to the top of people's reactions and value sets. To overcome and combat that polarization, he introduces the concept of the civic mindset and explains this alternative state of mind, its basic features, and why embracing it would be a great step forward and backward in the sense of going back to older times for all of us, and both the resolution of the particular disputes we have, and in building a more common and civic mindset in our communities. So congratulations, Daniel. You're on mute as well.
Here we go. Thank you. No, really, thank you. And first, I must say, I've never been so anxious in my own home. This is really, thank you, Harry. Thank you, CPR. I am honored and humbled to receive this award, and I feel especially privileged to also be a part of this amazing dispute resolution community that is so deeply committed to bridging the divides in our world. And there's certainly no lack of divides right now. And as we speak, bombs are falling in Ukraine. Social and economic divides are widening. Democracy itself, designed to create tension, now feels under threat. Many scholars believe we're entering a kind of political warfare that risks uprooting foundational democratic institutions, and to me, more ominously, risks undercutting our own belief in our system itself, the democratic system. This is all what motivated me to write this article. And I realized that a lot of scholars have been producing brilliant ideas to address polarization's many causes, the economic disparities, discriminatory laws, media bias, and on. But the divide persists. And why? I'm a psychologist by trade. I see the world through that lens. And I believe that the ultimate problem is not in the outer world, but in the inner one, in our mindset. Everything we say, every political argument we make originates from our political identity. And I sense that there's a battle going on in our minds between two very powerful mindsets. And Harry, you eloquently shared the basic idea, but this battle in our minds, wrestling for control of our political identity. One of the minds is what I call the partisan mindset, and it loves to divide. It pits us against the other. It's adversarial, it's self-righteous, it's insular and closed. Politicians love this mindset because it energizes us to fight, to battle, and we thrill in the higher purpose of allegiance to our own team, our tribe, our political party. But this mindset also creates power struggles. It's us versus them. And any hope, excuse me, and any hope of cooperation for the common good gets crushed. And I've come to believe that there's a different mindset that's even more powerful if we feed it. And I call it the civic mindset. And this mindset impassions us to cooperate. It's pluralistic in the sense of seeing conflict as a clash of two truths, not one, and it's community spirited. And my hope is that society can embrace this mindset, the civic mindset, that we can summon the courage to fight for the civic mindset as we have fought for the partisan one. Last thought, each of us here today takes one action in the cause of civic mindedness. My sense is we can create a ripple effect of positive change. At least that's my hope. So thank you so much for this honor of the award. And I ultimately, I hope that the award can just inspire people to think more about this possibility of civic mindedness. So thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Daniel. Now we turn to the award for Outstanding Professional Article. To present the award for the Outstanding Professional Article is Bob Koppel. Bob formed his own firm in 2006 after a career in-house at Motorola and at several law firms. And he provides dispute prevention management and resolution services. He is a member of the CPR panel of distinguished neutrals and focuses in on patent, intellectual property, biotechnology, environmental, and commercial litigation. Bob?
Thank you, Helena. Can everybody hear me okay? Again, I want to thank you for all the hard work that you've put in on this project year after year. And let me try to talk a little bit first about what our definition of an outstanding professional article. Well, I think just by the categories that are already here, we know it's not a short article. So we're talking about a fairly substantive piece where the author has dug in. But we're not talking about the most esoteric law review article either. We're talking about an article that it actually contributes to the community by giving us new ways to think about what it is we do for a living. Right now, obviously, diversity is a very important issue across all stages of ADR. And so as a result, we have this excellent article in front of us, which we're going to award. But before I talk about that, I want to say we had, 11 articles we were reviewing, and each and every one of them was solid, solid research, solid writing. And so we directed our attention into which of these would do the general arbitrator community the most good. And the result was arbitrator diversity. Can it be achieved by Sarah Rudolph Cole, who unfortunately is not with us here today. I understand she's not feeling well. And in her place, however, Art Henshaw is going to accept this award for. Now, Art, I've got to ask you, don't you think you're getting a little greedy?
Again, I tried to press it 3 times. So, Bob, I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you. That's a very nice compliment.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to walk away with another award tonight, even though you're walking away with it for Sarah. But Art is a longtime friend and colleague. And Art, I thought I might ask you to say a few words about Sarah, since you two have collaborated on a variety of projects.
Oh, absolutely. So Sarah Cole is one of the leading lights of the academic world in dispute resolution, and her specialty is arbitration. And she has written so many things over so many years. We're just so lucky to have somebody who is as thoughtful and as bright and is such a good writer as she is. And this is evidenced by this article, which I hope you read in the Washington University Law Quarterly, which is fantastic. I'm so excited for Sarah, and I'm so excited both for CPR as well, for selecting this article, because this is one of the issues of the day. There's no doubt about it. And it's such an important topic. It's getting everywhere, or it's coming out everywhere. where we need people who reflect the diversity of our country in positions that deal with disputes. And so you're right, Bob, that Sarah did develop a fever mid-afternoon today and had to bow out at the last minute. And she asked me to thank a couple people. So I'm going to thank the editors at the Washington University Law Quarterly. She wanted me to thank her research assistants as well for their great work on this. And she wanted me to thank the people at CPR, Helena, you, and others on the committee who selected this very important paper for the award. And finally, she asked me to thank Russ Bleemer for allowing her to work on some short pieces for the Alternatives magazine on this very topic. So lots of thanks from Sarah Cole.
And Art, let me just mention one thing about the article that I found impressive, and I think the judges did too. Yes, we know there is a diversity problem, and the article goes far beyond, oh, there's a diversity problem, but also offers a variety of suggestions about selection processes that still retain the independence of the parties in guiding their own proceeding, but increase the probability of more diversity within the selection process. And so I do think it's one worth reading. And Art, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Bob.
Congratulations in absentia to Sarah. I'm sure she would have liked to have been here this evening. So the final award on the academic award side is the Outstanding Book Award. And to present the Outstanding Book Award today, we have Hernando Otero, who is an international arbitration and mediation attorney with experience as counsel of record and as an international arbitrator in international law proceedings pursuant to multilateral investment treaties and BITs. And he has served as an arbitrator for ICSID and many other organizations, and we are privileged to have him as one of our award judges. Hernando?
Thank you, Elena. Can you guys hear me okay? Great. So it is actually my privilege to present the prize for the Outstanding Book Award. It was very enjoyable. I'll say that on behalf of my co-judges. This year, the CPR Awards program was blessed with a number of outstanding book submissions, but alas, a decision had to be made. And this year's Outstanding Book Award is presented to Art Hinshaw, Andrea Kupfer-Schneider, and Sarah Rudolph Cole for discussions and dispute resolution, the foundational articles. This book that was published by the Oxford University Press in May 2021 is a retrospective of the ADR field, both as a profession and as an academic field of study. The book brings together the modern dispute resolution field's most influential commentaries, reflects what distinguishes these pieces from others, and re-engages dispute resolution academics with the field's foundations. And more specifically, it collects several foundational writings in dispute resolution with a primary focus on 4 areas: negotiation, mediation, arbitration, and public policy. It provides interdisciplinary commentaries from dispute resolution scholars and ADR experts, and tracks the development of the field through the years, and where possible, it goes back to the original authors and gets their current views on what they wrote to bring a very refreshing look to these influential pieces, engaging the article's authors for further reflection on the piece and challenging the articles with the benefit of hindsight. Ultimately, the book highlights some of the most typical and continuing debates in the field of ADR, while the editors, by assembling this classic pieces of ADR, discuss and analyze in some parts briefly and in other parts more in detail, a wide range of topics that comprise dispute resolution. So Art, Andrea, and Sarah, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start this off and then hand this over to Art. First, we'd like to thank everybody at CPR and congratulate our co-award winners. This is quite an illustrious group that we are happy to join tonight. Jim, in particular, having worked with you on prevention for a very long time, that's just a wonderful honor. So that is wonderful. In line with the theme of the Beatles, I was thinking that this could be a book talking about with a little help from our friends. And we'd like to thank the original article authors, some of whom were still available to write responses, but really these original 16 articles are the inspiration for the book. And the editors at Oxford, we'd also like to thank for helping us pull it all together. All right.
Thank you. And now we see why Bob made the remark he made. It really should have been for Sarah Cole for winning 2 awards. I can't believe it. And they have told us to keep it quiet, and she did. She didn't tell us. She hadn't told us even yet. We just found out today what was going on. So it just goes to show how wonderful it is to work with people who you like and who you respect and who are wonderful. So I want to say thank you to Andrea. Thank you very much for being a part of this project. Thanks to Sarah for being a part of this project. I also want to say thanks to the CPR team, Helena, Hernando, Jay, who is going to be a part of this, and everybody else for picking this book. When we came up with the idea, we thought, wow, this will just be fun. And it's really turned into something that has been just given us more than we could ever thought. I'd also like to thank the contributors on the theme of help with your friends. We have 64 separate contributors to the book, including ourselves. And so without them, without you contributors, this book just doesn't work. And what we did is we got 4 people to comment on each article. And so we got a lot of different views of it and really play back and forth on it. So if you teach an ADR class, this is the book for you to have really in-depth discussions going forward. And also, we'd all like to thank our families for supporting us in every single way during the ups and downs that you have in writing a big book project like this. And really, more than anything else, we're just so honored and grateful for this award, and we hope that you read and enjoy the book. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for your contributions, not only in this book, but throughout the many years that you have been part of the CPR family. Next, we will pivot to the CPR Award for Outstanding Contribution to Diversity in ADR. To give this award, we are pleased to have the co-chair of the CPR Diversity Task Force, the Honorable Shira Scheindlin. Judge Scheindlin is a former federal judge for the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. Prior to that, she served as Chief Administrative U.S. Attorney and Deputy Chief of the Economic Crimes Unit in the U.S. Attorneys for the Eastern District of New York. And she also served with the Department of Investigations for the City of New York and as an Eastern District of New York magistrate judge. And today she is affiliated with Strzok. Judge, please take it away.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Helena, and thank you for all that you did to pull this wonderful program together. So this award is given to a new organization called Racial Equality for Arbitration Lawyers. It has 4 initials, but they happen to spell an easy word, REAL. REAL was launched on Martin Luther King Jr. Day just 1 year ago, January 18, 2021, to increase awareness of the need for advocacy of racially underrepresented stakeholders in arbitration and to increase access to the arbitration field for those underrepresented and facing socioeconomic barriers to becoming involved in arbitration. In its first year alone, REAL was able to award approximately 70 scholarships to law students and young lawyers throughout the developing world and the Western world to introduce them to arbitration trainings and conferences including those sponsored by CPR. REAL has ambassadors and allies around the world. Unlike other organizations, REAL does not have any membership fees. It is committed to assisting the new generation of lawyers who seek to enter the field of arbitration. Its 3 co-founders, whose names I haven't read for you yet, Dr. Krina Baltag, Dr. Kabir Dugal, and Rekha Rangachari. These 3 co-founders established REAL's steering committee, made up of global diversity thought leaders, where each provides a window into key international jurisdictions. REAL stands apart from other diversity initiatives through its 2-pronged focus on access and advocacy, as well as its inclusion of global stakeholders as practitioners within our community. Diversity initiatives now more than ever must go beyond our domestic borders, and REAL, through its incorporation and co-founders, has achieved that. A special mention, REAL's co-founders were also panelists, moderators, and participants on many other important diversity programs and initiatives throughout 2021, and including in January 22 at New York Law School's annual Diversity Symposium, in which I had the honor to participate representing CPR. But they were there and they discussed all of their initiatives. Often these awards are given to people at the height of their prestigious careers. But this year, the judges, and again, I was one of those, thought it especially important to recognize these 3 young people who are at the beginning of their careers, but are already making a real and tangible difference in the ADR community. So I am proud to present the Outstanding Contribution to Diversity in ADR Award to Dr. Krina Baltag, Dr. Kabir Dugal, and Rekha Rangachari. I understand it's too late in the day for Dr. Krina Baltag to be here, but I see Rekha and I see Kabir, and I hope they'll make some remarks tonight. Whoever wants to go first, please.
Thanks so much, Judge Schindlin. It is a great pleasure to be here. To the Award Review Committee at CPR, to the outstanding team at CPR, please accept our humble gratitude, our thanks, and our enthusiasm. To all the nominees, we offer our congratulations. Each initiative and effort deserving for building better for the future of our global disputes practice. At the core of who we are, REAL is about building a community at the grassroots level. We launched, as Judge Schindlin said, in January 2021, at a time when we wanted to show agility, to talk about diversity in all its intersectional hues, including race. This award is for the REAL community and its leadership, the steering committee, the 7 committees led by chairs and co-chairs, the ambassadors, the REAL partners, and last but not least, the REAL members and allies. We grow because each of their fortitude, their candor, and their vibrancy, and their ability indeed to share the spotlight. In turn, thanks are due to our chief nominator, Jeff Zano, who submitted a comprehensive report to the committee on the REAL impact and the REAL pipeline. REAL strives to create, as Judge Schindlin said, access with ardent advocacy, to offer scholarships for events with a price tag, to open the door to talent. Our co-chair, Krina Baltag, of course, was unable to join us today, but she is here in spirit, and Kabir will share more shortly. And so I pass the mic to my dear co-chair, Kabir Dugal, a CPR rising star.
Thank you, Rekha. I'm going to echo what Rekha said a lot less eloquently. There's a reason we let Rekha go first. I'm going to give a few thoughts on my behalf and on behalf of Krina, who's in Europe, but she's also actually in real time helping people enter Romania from Ukraine. So we take a moment just to acknowledge the real suffering and pain that's happening as we speak. You've heard Judge Schindlin mention this. You've heard Rekha talk about this. One of our 2 key goals at REAL is access, right? We want deserving people to get opportunities to join this field we love. And one way to do that is to give avenues to participate at events, at trainings, right? Unless we open the door, how is that going to happen? Finances can be a real limitation. $500 in the US is a lot of money, but it is for a lot of the world unimaginable. As of this morning, we have hit 90 scholarships. I was just joking with Rekha, we're glad it became a round number. As of yesterday, it was 87, but we had another 3. So it's become a round number. This is a small effort to try and get opportunities to deserving people from all around the world. We're grateful to everyone who works with us. There are hundreds of people devoting thousands of hours behind the scenes. We are grateful to each of them. We're grateful to our real partners, including CPR. CPR has assisted and joined us in giving scholarships to many, many programs. We are very grateful. We also acknowledge with humility and gratitude the awesome work done by a lot of other diversity initiatives, right? We are all in this together. We're all stronger when we work together. With that, we'd like to thank CPR. Judge Schindlin, you are a role model to so many of us. To all the judges, please join us in the goal of getting real. Let's get real. Thank you very much.
Congratulations and thank you for your inspiring words. I know that the next generation is in good hands. Before we wrap up, I'd like to ask our tech to go back to the annual awards judges slide, which I inadvertently skipped. This program would not happen without the work of our annual awards judges who spend their Thanksgiving and Christmas vacations reading all of the submissions. And this year was a year where we had an amazing number of submissions. So to all of our annual awards academic judges, I thank you. Moving on to the diversity judges, this year we had a record number of submissions for the diversity award. And as Kabir pointed out, all of them were deserving. The whole diversity program and the diversity award would not be possible if all of the judges that you see on the screen before you did not take the time to review the submissions and advocate not only for the submissions, but for diversity in general. And we thank them for all of their hard work. So finally, I would like to turn the mic back over to Alan for closing remarks.
This is such a remarkable event. I have to say, I think the common theme here, and I'm touched by the humanity of our community that's reflected in the efforts that every one of the honorees tonight reflects, whether it be Connie Mateo in a company, Jim Groton in a law firm and in his personal work, the academic folks who have been honored tonight, the folks from Real, each and every one of you is dedicated not only to the mission of dispute prevention and resolution, but in helping us better understand and work with each other for a better world. I'm so sorry that in some ways we end up having to pick award winners, not because each of you is not so deserving of those awards, but I must say there were so many who were so deserving to be recognized. And it fills me with great promise, hope, and empowerment that we have such an active community dedicated to this mission. So thanks to all of you. You know, I've only been part of this community with you all in the last couple of years. I'm looking at Daniel here, who was our keynote speaker the last time we were in person for an annual meeting in St. Petersburg, Florida. And what a tremendous message he delivered to us then as his work continues to span out. I look at Reka, who was one of the first to welcome me into the community and the great work that she does. Kabir, who I served with on a panel at one of the New York Law School diversity events. Homer LaRue, our board member and now a leader in the diversity community. Joan Johnson, who welcomed me on my first day to CPR and has been a leader in the dispute prevention field alongside Jim and so many others. Judge Shinlin, who's been so actively engaged with us, not only as a co-chair of our diversity task force, but in helping us think through our offerings and services at CPR. I run the risk here of not mentioning everybody and all the work all of you do every day. And again, that sense of humanity that you bring to this field. It is really awe-inspiring and heartwarming as well. So thank you all. I want to thank again our judges who really put the time in to pour through these applications, and they get to be rather lengthy. And as Helena mentioned, spend their holidays sifting through here and making very difficult judgment calls. I also want to thank our staff yet again, Helena, Chris Silva, Ellen, Lily, and others who really have taken the time to help coordinate this, bring a sense of fairness and integrity to this process. You all make such a difference in these awards. And I have to say, when I see something that says the 39th annual awards ceremony, my goodness, I was like only a year old when that happened. It's tremendous that there is such legacy to this. It provides such bona fides to this award ceremony, to this field. And look at the book that we're recognizing here, which itself stands for the legacy of dispute resolution, dispute prevention. Thank you to those authors. Thank you to Sarah Cole. Hopefully you will feel better for providing us guidance on diversity. You know, we talk about that as an aspiration, but you've provided us guidance on how to get there. So I'm sorry, I could go on and on. Thank you all. Please stay with us here. We're going to take a short break and then come back for our closing program of the evening. Let me turn it back over to my colleague, Ellen.